The Secrets of Let's Science is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit GiveStarQuest.com.
3, 2, 1.
We live in a universe of scientific wonders.
Every day, scientists are inching towards breakthroughs which can change our lives.
We're playing our small part in sharing these wonders with you.
That's why today is a fine day for science.
So let's science.
Yes, we are, and it's a pretty fun topic today. I have named it Bruce the Champion Kia. Okay, so Bruce is a little parrot. Okay, and he's from New Zealand. He is a Kia, as I've mentioned, and these Kia typically live in the snow-capped peaks of New Zealand's South Island, so it's very cold. And in fact, the Kia is the world's only alpine parrot, and their natural habitat is a landscape ranging from the lowland river valleys of the west coast up to the high-altitude fields and mountain slopes of the southern Alps, reaching heights of about 2,000 metres. And they are really masters of the cold climate. They thrive in places like Arthur's Pass and Aoraki or Mount Cook National Park. So they are amazing little guys being able to live in the cold. Usually if you think of a parrot, they live in the nice warm temperatures, or we have our parrots in temperate climates here in Melbourne and in Australia, all around Australia. Now, Kias they're very stocky and pretty well built for parrots, and they have a beautiful olive green plumage, and underneath this green plumage is a beautiful surprise of brilliant orange feathers under their wings. And you only usually see these orange feathers when they're flying or dismantling a tourist backpack, or maybe chewing on someone's windscreen wipers on their car when they get a little bit excited.
Yeah,
they are very well known for doing that. Okay.
Same as to the parrots here in Australia. Yep.
Yes.
Do they have a preference for Kia branded cars, or is
Now, that's a study on its own, I think. Kias for Kias. Yeah.
It's a Kia on it?
Yeah. Love it.
It's an advertising campaign right there. Copyright.
To do this, obviously, these birds have loads of personality, and I've been really lucky to have some close encounters with these birds in a wildlife park. I've seen them up close. I've had a chat to them, and they're so cheeky and they're really charismatic, like the most charismatic New Zealand birds I've met in New Zealand. They're just brilliant. I just love them. They're just the best. I love all New Zealand birds, to be honest, but these little guys really stand out. And if you have an encounter, you'll never forget it. So with Kias, their most critical tool that they use, as I've indicated before, is their beak. So in a typical Kia, the upper mandible is long, it's curved, and it's overlapping and acts like a specialized hook, which they use for foraging, for climbing, and a little thing they call allopreening, which is how they clean each other to maintain social bonds. So they're very social birds. Now, but today we aren't talking about a typical Kia. We're talking about Bruce. Bruce. Okay, brilliant name. I love it.
Before you go on, Bruce, it's a very Australian name. We hear a lot about Bruce, whatever.
Sure.
Is Bruce, is it a, do you know if it's a common name in New Zealand, or like how did?
I can't say I've heard it, a lot of it in New Zealand.
Doesn't strike me as the type.
It sounds like it in New Zealand,
Maybe an Australian named him, who knows?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I was about to say, hey, that's
If anyone knows, please let us know, right?
And I will call him Bruce.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce. It's such a great name. I love the name Bruce.
It's a great name.
I actually really do.
Shout out to all the Bruces out there listening today.
All the Bruces, brilliant name, you're legends. Okay. So Bruce lives at the Willowbank Wildlife Reserve. Now, this is located about 15 minutes away from the city centre of Christchurch, which is on the South Island of New Zealand. Now, while the reserve is a haven for many of New Zealand's native species of birds, Mr. Bruce stands out because he's missing his entire upper beak.
Ooh.
Yeah. So now if Bruce were living in the wild, missing his upper beak would probably be a death sentence for a Kia
Yeah.
because he wouldn't be able to do what other Kias do. But
That's true.
there's a curveball here. According to a new study published in Current Biology, Bruce didn't just survive and isn't just surviving. He has learnt to adapt. Also, he has actually become the alpha male, the alpha bird of his entire group.
Wow.
Yeah, he's defied all the odds. So
Because his name is Bruce. Bruce is like a tough guy name.
it's definitely got something to do with it.
Yeah.
Definitely. So to understand why Bruce is such a big deal, let's look at how Kia operates socially. So a group of Kia, which I love this, is called a circus. Aptly named,
Love it.
perfectly named, right?
love it.
It just suits them perfectly. A circus. They are little clowns, right?
Yep.
Cutest little
Very
guys.
cute clowns. Very nice.
Very, very beautiful and cute and definitely, little clowns. So I'm not sure. It's just, they just think it's amazing. So they definitely have the big personalities. Now, Bruce arrived at Willowbank about 12 years ago. Now, it's suspected he's lost his beak to a pest trap in the wild, which is kind of sad.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So when researchers first started studying him, they discovered something world first, self-medicated tool use. Because Bruce couldn't preen his feathers with a hooked beak they didn't have, he actually began picking up specific pebbles, holding them against his tongue and using them to comb his feathers. That is just so, wow, what intelligence, so smart.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Totally. Now, in Kia culture, the birds establish dominance through agonistic interactions. So normally a male Kia uses a downward biting motion. So they use that sharp upper hook to grab the neck or the wing of an opponent and pin them down. Now, it's all about the leverage from above. Now, Bruce, obviously, he can't do this. He hasn't got the hook. The research team recorded 227 of these dominance displays by Bruce. They expected him to be the bird at the bottom of the ladder. You know what? Instead, Bruce was involved in 36 high-stake fights with other males. You know what? He won 100% of these fights.
I was about to say,
Bruce.
take that, UFC. yeah.
Leading to the famous phrase that's known all over New Zealand, you can always bet on Bruce.
That's it. We like Bruce.
We like Bruce.
Now-
You like Bruce?
Yeah, I'm on Team Bruce. Yeah.
Cool. I'm Tim. Yeah, all right.
Now, Bruce was able to invent a fighting style all of his own that they have named beak jousting.
Oh.
So since he can't bite down, Bruce uses his lower mandible like a spear. So while his opponent is trying to get into position for a traditional overhead bite, Bruce lunges forward with a rapid horizontal thrust.
There you go.
He aims his lower beak at the opponent's chest or head. Now, the physics are fascinating because other birds aren't evolved to defend against the spear thrust, and they're all caught off balance. It's making me laugh because it's just funny to think about it. Now, the data shows that this jousting move repels rivals 73% of the time compared to just 48% for a standard Kia kick or bite. Awesome. So now, being the alpha obviously comes with lots of advantages when you are in a circus of Kias. So Bruce gets first pick at the feeding stations because they are feeding stations around the reserve. So in fact, for about 15 minutes every day, the other birds just stay back and let Bruce eat alone at all 4 feeders, okay?
Wow.
Which is really rarely seen in competitive birds.
Oh, go Bruce. Yeah, that is, wow. Yeah.
Now, here's a little bit of science for you. The researchers analysed the bird's droppings for corticosterone, which is a stress hormone, okay? Now, usually the alpha bird is the most stressed because they're constantly on guard to defend their status.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I can
Bruce
imagine.
had the lowest stress levels in the entire
Really?
circuit.
Wow,
Now-
that's a...
Isn't that amazing? So he's a confident guy,
He's a
right?
confident bird. Yeah.
He knows what he's got over everyone else. So it turns out that leadership isn't just based on fear, it's based on a unique social contract. So Bird is the only male who gets allopreened by other subordinate males. Because he can't reach a certain spot on his own head, the other birds clean him in a form of social tribute. So he has traded his disability, in quotes, for a specialized role in the group that ensures he is cared for and respected. He has earned his place as the alpha. So this has caused biologists to really rethink the very definition of a disability in animal
in animal kingdom.
So we often think of evolution as a rigid process with a broken or left behind. But Bruce proves that in high intelligence species, there's something called behavioral plasticity. So this is the ability to change your behavior to fit your circumstances, which is the ultimate survival trait. So by working with what Beak he had left, Bruce invented the new way to fight and a new way to groom and a new way to lead. And I just think, isn't that an amazing insight to the intelligence of these birds and how they're able to adapt and thrive despite being a little different to the others and even having a huge advantage because of it. So that's the story of Bruce the Kia.
Wow. That's amazing, Caroline. You know, it just shows... Personally, that even us humans have disabilities, and also animals do disabilities. They find their way. They find their way to adapt, and it's amazing.
It is.
It shows that they can still survive. They have to find a way to survive, and they will. And it's just incredible.
The resilience of animals is really amazing. We've seen like dogs with 3 legs and they're fine. They don't care. They just run with what they've got. Or even when my little Fifi was paralyzed earlier this year.
That's right. Yeah.
Fine now.
Ooh.
But she had so much fight in her that she made herself better just through willpower. Like she really just wanted to get better, and she was limping along and everything, but she didn't stop moving. I'm just going to do what I can with the legs that do work. So they're amazing. Animals are amazing. They can teach us a lot. Don't get beaten down if your body's not working. Try and do what you can with it. I know. I can say that because I'm getting older and everything's creaking.
Relate to that.
You know. But
Is there any relationship to neuroplasticity? Sorry to throw a curveball question.
Oh, yeah.
Because they talk about how, like, the human brain, you can train it. There's not really necessarily an age limit where, you can't learn any new skills. Neuroplasticity, you can actually still learn new skills and if I want it, I'm terrible at maths, but if I really put my mind to it, I could become a mathematician. I'm not going to, by the way, but is there any, and you don't have anything written in front of you about this, but do you think it could be something similar with Bruce and other animals like this?
It could be. That's a really interesting question. If you think about it, he probably did have to figure out, how do I use I don't have the top beak anymore. What am I going to do? How does it work now? And he probably did have to retrain his brain and his body to work together to make it work in the way he wanted to. So, there probably is a degree of that in there. Absolutely. That's really interesting. That would be another study on its own, wouldn't it?
Yeah, true.
Let's write to them and tell them. Find a link,
But that's the thing with science, isn't it? You answer one question, but then there's heaps more. There's lots more questions, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's just what makes it fun, because the more you learn, the more you want to learn. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's great. Thank you for sharing. That's a great story. I like that one. And I have to admit, I've never heard of Kias before. And I was looking at photos.
Me neither.
Beautiful birds. That like hooked beak you were talking about and everything. Yeah, really nice.
Let's Science is brought to you by StarQuest Media and is a fortnightly podcast that brings you the scientific wonders of our universe from a distinctly Catholic point of view. For more from Caroline, Lindsay, and friends, listen to the StarQuest show, Catholics of Oz. Find links from today's show at sqpn.com/science. And find the Catholics of Oz at sqpn.com/Oz. Be sure to follow the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you can find podcasts, or on the SQPN YouTube channel. The generous donations of our patrons at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue Let's Science and all the shows at StarQuest, which makes our nonprofit mission possible. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. Join us next time for more scientific wonders, and thank you for listening to Let's Science on StarQuest. Here's another show on the StarQuest network you're sure to enjoy. The Secrets of Technology. Find it wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/technology.